Welcome back to Timeless Tales, the podcast where history speaks and we listen. I'm your host, Captain D, and today we're diving into one of the darkest chapters in human history. The name Adolf Hitler is synonymous with terror, genocide, and war. His rise to power in Germany in the early 20th century led to a global conflict that claimed tens of millions of lives. But today, we're not just talking about the man himself. We're remembering the victims, the countless individuals whose lives were stolen by his ideology, his policies, and his war. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that this episode contains discussions of war crimes, genocide, and extreme human suffering. Listener discretion is advised. The rise of Adolf Hitler. To understand the scale of destruction, we must first understand the man. Hitler was born in 1889 in Austria and later moved to Germany, where he served in World War I. Disillusioned by Germany's defeat, he joined the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or the Nazi Party, and quickly became its leader. By 1933, Hitler had risen to the position of Chancellor of Germany. Within a year, he established a totalitarian regime, silencing opposition, censoring the press, and enacting laws that targeted minorities, particularly the Jewish community. But Hitler's ambitions extended far beyond Germany. In 1939, he launched World War II by invading Poland. Over the next 6 years, the war would claim an estimated 70 to 85 million lives, approximately 3% of the world's population at that time. The Holocaust, 6 million murdered. Among Hitler's most heinous crimes was the Holocaust, the systematic extermination of 6 million Jewish people. Hitler and his Nazi followers viewed Jews as enemies of the state. What started as discriminatory laws and social persecution escalated into forced deportations, mass shootings, and industrialized killing in concentration camps. Auschwitz, Treblinka, Sobibor, and Dachau, these names are forever linked to horror. People were crammed into cattle cars and transported to these death camps, where they were either immediately executed in gas chambers or subjected to forced labor, starvation, and medical experiments. But the Nazis didn't stop at the Jewish community. Other targeted groups included Romani people, gypsies. Around 500,000 were murdered. Disabled individuals. Through the T4 euthanasia program, over 250,000 disabled men, women, and children were killed. LGBTQ plus individuals. Thousands were imprisoned and many were tortured or killed. Political prisoners, communists, socialists, and anyone who opposed the Nazi regime were arrested and executed. Jehovah's Witnesses, persecuted for their refusal to pledge allegiance to Hitler. The war's toll millions of civilians and soldiers. Hitler's thirst for expansion and power devastated entire nations. Poland, the first country to fall, lost over 6 million people, half of whom were Jewish. The Soviet Union suffered the highest losses, with estimates of 24 to 27 million deaths, including soldiers and civilians. Other staggering numbers include China, over 15 million deaths due to Japanese invasion, which was partly driven by Axis powers' expansionism. Germany itself, more than 7 million Germans, including soldiers and civilians, perished in the war. The United States, over 400,000 American troops lost their lives fighting in the European and Pacific theaters. The United Kingdom, around 450,000 British military and civilian deaths occurred. No continent was untouched. Hitler's war stretched across Europe, North Africa, and even reached Asia through alliances with Japan and Italy. The aftermath, the cost of Hitler's reign. The war ended in 1945 when Hitler took his own life in his Berlin bunker, but his death did not erase the trauma he inflicted. Survivors of concentration camps were left with lifelong scars, both physical and emotional. Cities were reduced to rubble. Economies collapsed, and millions of families were left grieving. The Nuremberg trials sought to bring Nazi war criminals to justice, but no trial could undo the pain inflicted. The world vowed never again, a promise to remain vigilant against hate, genocide, and tyranny. Personal stories, the lies behind the numbers. While statistics tell a shocking story, they can never fully capture the pain of individual lives lost. Take, for instance, in Frank, a young Jewish girl whose diary became one of the most powerful records of the Holocaust, hiding in an attic for years before being captured and sent to Bergen-Belsen concentration camp. She perished just weeks before liberation. There's also Witold Pilecki, a Polish resistance fighter who voluntarily entered Auschwitz to document Nazi atrocities. His reports helped inform the world of the horrors occurring inside the camps, though he was later executed by the Soviet regime. And then there were the millions of nameless victims. The mothers, fathers, children, and elderly, each with their own stories, dreams, and hopes, cut short by Hitler's vision of a pure world. The role of propaganda in mass murder, Hitler's ability to rally a nation into supporting his horrific actions didn't happen overnight. He and his ministers, especially Joseph Goebbels, mastered the use of propaganda. Films, speeches, and school curriculums demonized Jews and other minorities. The Nazi regime spread lies about racial superiority, creating a society that was willing, or at least compliant enough, to look the other way as millions were led to their deaths. This raises a critical question. Could something like this happen again? History tells us that when people stop questioning, when governments suppress free thought, and when propaganda replaces truth, atrocities can and do repeat. Why we must remember, history is not just a record of what has happened. It is a warning. Adolf Hitler's reign is a reminder of the power of propaganda, the dangers of unchecked leadership, and the devastating consequences of hate. As we close today's episode, I urge you to reflect on the stories of those who suffered, to honor their memory, and to ensure that history never repeats itself. If we forget, if we fail to educate future generations, we run the risk of allowing similar horrors to rise again. The responsibility to remember and act lies with each of us. Final thoughts, a call to action. What can we do today to prevent the spread of hate? We can start by educating ourselves and others. Speak up against discrimination. Support policies that promote human rights. And remember that even in dark times, individual voices can make a difference. Thank you for joining me on this journey through time. If you found this episode insightful, please subscribe to Timeless Tales and share it with those who value history's lessons. Until next time, this is Captain D, signing off. Stay curious.